Recording.
Bing. So, hello and welcome to a live stream by myself, Mr. Stephen Horrow, and himself.
Mr. James Lightfoot.
Hey, we did it that time. Right. So, James, why games?
Because it rhymes with James.
What's your first memory of what was your first memory of gaming, and what was the thing that dragged you in and hooked you?
Spectrum 48K, Christmas time. Parents bought it for us. And just sat there. It was a beautiful marvel. Wow. I just fell in love with it immediately and then got obsessed, tried to make games. And that is my, truest game experience memory that I will love forever is the ZX Spectrum 48K.
What was the game?
The game that day or the game overall?
Game that day.
Okay, that day, that Christmas, I remember. I think I was playing Match Day, and I think was it called something, Fighting Warrior or something by Melbourne House. I think it was called that. It's actually in the latest Retro Gamer magazine. There's a piece on Melbourne House, or them, or one of the companies for Melbourne House, and it was in there. Fighting Warrior, I think it's called.
I like the fact that you can remember the name of the company that made it, but not the name of the actual game.
I think it's Fighting Warrior. It was.
Yeah.
They released it after The Way of the Exploding Fist, and we got.
Yeah. All gone.
Yeah, look.
Yeah. Attic.
Attic Attack.
Yes.
Of which I used to call, for some bizarre reason, I thought it was called a Tick Attack.
Tick Attack. Strange. So when did you actually start messing around with making your own ones? Because you started quite young, right? You were like...
I did. I tried to, in BASIC, program games very young, and they were rubbish. I kind of just made them, first of all from the middle of magazines, and you'd copy it out and then tweak it to make it your own. And then I actually tried to make my own games. Non-spoiler alert, one that does exist. I remade pixel for pixel that is in Mystery of Woolly Mountain, but we can come to that. It was called Cars the Remix, and I made it and it was rubbish. And I've made it as rubbish and with all the bugs and stuff in Mystery of Woolly Mountain.
So rubbish, you've released it twice.
Exactly. But now it's kind of like, seen as mad genius. It's not.
It's retro classic. Retro classic. I
just want to say thank you very much to my wife. She's just brought me a glass of the finest of the wine. My long-suffering wife, ladies and gentlemen.
Where's mine?
It's just coming now, I think.
Your long-suffering wife.
Yeah.
It's getting on a train.
Yeah.
Thank you. Probably shouldn't. But go on.
Is it my question to you now, or is it?
You can ask a question to me. That's all right.
Straight back at you.
So my cousin got an Amstrad. Well, the old. I don't know what the thing was, but that was like a big sort of shiny new thing. And my earliest memories of it are basically the old sort of crappy Ghostbusters game, which was kind of amazing. You had to kind of capture the ghost between the two streams.
Actually.
Oh, that's awesome. The Roland games and like stuff like Lemmings. And I think I vaguely remember him having Rockstar Ate My Hamster and it being the funniest thing ever. We had that, so we got an Amstrad, but we were not as minted as they were clearly. So we had the green screen run rather than the colour one. Oh, it's 80 nuns here.
Oh, hello.
I probably shouldn't have said her surname because she's in there under a pseudonym.
Oh
shit! Sorry, 80. Love you still.
We're useless.
Yeah. No, so that was the Amstrad was the thing for me. I'm hoping I can't work out if the U is for the game or the Amstrad for the green screen, but it was a technological marvel.
It could be our faces, Steve. To be honest.
Oh, it could be. They were both brilliant. Yay! But yeah, and so and then from that, my next, I had a Game Boy which I took everywhere with me, and my big teenage obsession was a Mega Drive. And yeah, doxed. Sorry, mate. Sorry. After all you've done for me as well. So AD is the person who's responsible for my first putting out my first ever pop single,
And for me, putting on gigs and being right there with us throughout many of the journeys.
One of my favourite memories is the first time I met Adrian, because it was just one of those amazing nights, which, this is a complete tangent and probably led on to how we met, but so we're bouncing around a little bit. But anyway, so Sega Mega Drive in teenage years, which was, that was the game changer. Sonic the Hedgehog and, Echo the Dolphin was amazing.
Echo the Dolphin.
I really liked Robocop versus Terminator, which I'm told people don't look back on quite so fondly and think is a bit pony, but I like that one.
Yeah, I never played it, but I was always impressed. I think that was like the Dave Perry times of Virgin, wasn't it? And all his games were pretty spectacular, but I never played that one.
No, it was good. So yeah, and then I kind of lapsed for ages because late teenage years and discovered the pub. Basically, it was pubs and clubs, and it was like
and music, I guess.
And music, yeah. So you just you put various things in a box. Like I didn't same sort of time. I didn't. So I for anyone who doesn't know, I have been an artist, but I stopped drawing for ages around about the same time, because just once you throw everything into doing the music thing, it becomes all encompassing.
Yes. We'll come to that though on our journey. The music angle. So yes, so after my Spectrum, I then I had a flirtation with the C64. Far too late in the 8-bit world. Everyone else was
Spiral Carpets lyric.
I think it is. And then after that, I skipped the Amiga and Atari ST entirely. Then it was Master System a little bit. Straight after that, no NES, Mega Drive, SNES, Dreamcast, N64, Dreamcast, can't remember order, GameCube, and then I probably left the building. No, that's a lie. PlayStation.
Oh, yeah.
PlayStation 2, I reckon I left the building for a while in the gaming world. I think that was when I said farewell and went on to my musical and pubs journey, like you said.
Yeah, I didn't get a PlayStation 2 till much later, because my brother gave me his one, and when I did, I got like Guitar Hero or something, and I got a compilation of Sega Mega Drive games from the 90s. He was the one that had the Nintendo stuff as a rule. Like he had the. I've got really fond memories of the NES. If someone did a really good emulator of some of those old NES games, I would be.
They exist, Steve. Google.
Do they?
You can get like a mini NES.
Google.
You can get.
Oh, can you? I know you can get one, but
Antstream,
on my iPad or something.
Well, or Antstream, which is really good.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's like a online subscription, and every game. In fact, I need to do it. Every game is at your fingertips, like like Netflix. Yeah. It's like a Netflix for games.
So this is how much I'm. You've dragged me back into it to a certain degree, but I just need to go full in, don't I?
Yes, you do. Yes, I mean you are back, and that's the wonderful thing about why we are on this live dev stream right now, because obviously we're making Sleepytime Village together. I've known Steve for many years through music, and here we are, an almost funded Kickstarter, making a point-and-click adventure based on your graphic novel that isn't out yet, but this year. What's going on?
Did you see that? Did that just wow. Fireworks and stuff?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I did.
Do it again. Yeah.
I'm just going to keep doing that at various points now. That's amazing.
That is pretty cool, isn't it? I can't. It's not doing it for me. Never mind.
No, it must be. I've upgraded the Mac. I think it's a Mac setting. Yay.
Yeah. What happens if you do this? Oh, it's raining on me. It's raining. It's doing it on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's working, both of us. So that means I can do the magic one.
Yeah, quality content.
Two old men find street.
Woo, filters. Tune in next week. It's where we start messing around with Instagram.
Yeah. Instagram? No, I'm kidding.
No, but then so yeah, when you've been the whole meeting with bands thing, so you have been in lots of the buggers.
I have, and this is a nice moment actually. So my first game was The Mystery of Woolly Mountain. It came out in 2019. on desktop and Switch, now available on other platforms too. But the point is, that was based on one of my bands. The characters, it was a band called the Helmholtz Resonators, and we all dressed up as Victorian time-traveling scientists. We all had the same names as the characters in the game, obviously, and it was always our dream and intention to kind of evolve the world, into multimedia kind of thing. And that's what we did. The second album was called The Mystery of Woolly Mountain. It was like this interactive ebook and normal album, and it was a story basically, and that's what became the game. And the reason I mention that is because I would now like to, with the genius of how I've set everything up, is showcase to you what this band was like. So, is that full screen?
There's that slight delay, so I'm just waiting for it to come up. I'm just.
Was it too big a
I
screen?
should say I bloody loved Helmholtz. I think that was probably my favourite of your band. Am I allowed to have a favourite of your bands?
You can.
Yeah, that was my favourite. Because the costumes as well were very much my wheelhouse.
Yes.
And there we go, it's coming up. The video for Land of Dreams, I mean, that song was amazing. Because it was a bit like early Pink Floyd, like Sid Barrett Pink Floyd.
I mean, I could show that instead. I was going to show a little bit of La La from Cafe.
Oh, we did? No, go with La La. Yeah.
This is that's me on the right, far young, slim. That's my bro. And this is us at Cafe 1001. July 12th, 2011. And that's a little clip I'd like to just thought I'd show to give some kind of perspective.
It was always really, there was that particular period where there was a couple of like. Did you ever see Black Daniel?
Yes.
Did you ever play Black Daniel as well? They were phenomenal live as well.
Yeah,
like
we played together at the wonderful Buffalo Bar, now missed, and I played on a Black Daniel's song as well. People watching, I played bass.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, but anyway, shouldn't divulge too much on music, for this is a live stream. But
so so we met through that.
I can show you one of yours if you'd like. You want to tee me up?
Which one have you picked?
Well, I haven't. You can tee me up, and I'll give back what I've just given.
Go. 18 years old this last week, and AD is responsible for making it happen. Find the video for "We Got Bored" by 586. That was my indie hit. I can call it a hit. It was on the radio and MTV too.
Now, would you like it live at the Barfly or?
God no.
Okay.
We were fucking shambles.
Okay. Here we go. This is Steve with his biggest hit. So let's go. Here we are. Ready? We Got Bored by 586. Now, if you're bored of that, we're going to move back. See what I did?
One anecdote about making that video. So we had half the band lived in a warehouse in Hackney, and we filmed it in there. We had this guy that came over from Iceland who called it Einar, who was amazing, and we were absolutely steaming drunk for the duration. I mean, I'm sure we don't look it at all, partly because the rotoscoping is quite.
In the video
flattering.
You were steaming drunk.
Oh, we got you. Yeah. That's still huge. Hey. Still huge in my heart too. but yeah, no, I think it's so 586 played with the Moths, which is how I think we first met you lot, and then the band afterwards played with Helmholtz quite a lot. And then, we just carried on doing our various things. Fades became a thing again at one point. I backed Woody Mountain on Kickstarter because you messaged me about it, and I was like, I don't know what a point and click game is, but that's, all right. It's James. He's
doing something. What's he doing now?
he's doing something. He's not a twit. Let's see what it is. And that went really well, that Kickstarter, didn't it?
It did. I looked at it earlier today, and it made like £9,045 or something, of a target of like, I don't know, 8.5 or something. My first ever Kickstarter, first ever game. Didn't know what I was doing, but I did well. So yeah. And
we've talked about this though in other when we've been interviewed for podcasts where it's like, because this is why we kind of, one of the reasons we kind of get on is that just, if you want to, fancy doing something, just throw yourself in it and just have a go. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's how most of our bands have started, from just throwing ourselves in and having a go, and then you getting into the game. Me drawing and writing comics has come from just thinking, yeah, I like comics, I'm going to have a go at making one.
Okay, look, 9579 is what it made. There we are. But yes, yeah, exactly. You made loads of great comics, which is how, again, we knew each other through music. And I wanted to make another point and click because the other secret game I'm making was frustrating me for a moment. So I contacted you and I said, I want to make a point and click of this. Here we are. You see that?
There's the delay. So I'm going to assume you put the cover of Lizardmen up.
Well, it's the Kickstarter page, yes.
Hey, okay, cool. Don't try and back it, kids. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
It's done. Just email me. I've got a small box of them. I'll do you a discount. Tell me you're a Sleepytime backer and I'll do you a discount.
Look at that beautiful artwork by Mr. Steve Horan.
Is that one of mine? Yeah, that is. I can't just trying to look at it. Yeah, that is. No, that's Katya's eyeball. And Katya drew that eyeball. Her eyes are very different to that.
Oh no, it's changed. I think now. If you give it a moment, it will come to a issue 1 cover.
Oh yeah, that was me. That was me. Hey, yeah, and then it was funny because you messaged me about it, and I was like, well, it'd be cool, but because you sent me, because I knew nothing about point and click, so you sent me Broken Age, Little Misfortune, and one other. What was the one other?
Oh, I can't remember. But those two.
No, because those were the two I played, and they were like, oh, this is awesome, but also, I've got this book. By that time, I was well into the writing, well into the production of Sleepytime Village. So it was kind of, oh, this will probably fit you. This might work better. So I sent you a copy. So I guess for me, I'd finished Lizardmen, and that did pretty well actually. I was quite pleased with how it went, and we had some lovely reviews. And I was scooting around looking for a new idea. I have 2 children, and I had been inducted into the world of CBeebies, which I adore. Like the best. The CBeebies is like the best of the BBC. Outside of Doctor Who, which as long as they keep making, I'll keep paying my license fee. And I had this. I was watching Moon and Me in the bedtime hour, and being freaked out by the motion of the characters, in particular Collywobble, the kind of clown, and just made a throwaway comment to the wife along the lines of, imagine waking up and Collywobble is in your bed staring at you, because dead eyes of a 60s Cyberman, but stop motion and this clown, and don't bring the toy. Don't bring the toy. Don't bring the toy. And that led on to me messaging. So with Lizardmen, I'd worked with a guy called Ken Reynolds, who was the letterer on that. He and I have been talking about collaborating on something. I messaged him and said, I've got my idea for a comic, and it's like Life on Mars, but he wakes up in the night garden. And Ken was like, yeah, that's great. That's not a story, that's a pitch. What's the story? And then kept poking and prodding until we finally had basically we finally had a story. And then got Yulia involved, and then by that point, I think how much of it was done. But I think we were quite near.
You
We
were
had quite a lot of it by the
definitely,
time you got in contact, right?
yeah, you were definitely. It was pretty much there, like the whole story, apart from some extra bits that you now have added in. It was all there for me to
Yeah.
go. Right, I want to do this. This is awesome. By the way, Collywobble is up on screen.
I know he's there, and I'm ignoring him because he's just those freaking eyes, man. It's just horrible.
Yeah, they're just a bit too wide and looking. Yeah,
It's like he is like a 60s Cyberman, but
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
pointy bits.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I saw the graphic novel and I was like, I must make a game of this. This is fantastic. And here we are. You know, you were a bit like, okay, how's it going to work? And I worked closely with Ken and with Yulia, who helped, just kind of take the art, some art that existed from the graphic novel and art that didn't, to, you know, create some of the scenes in the game and stuff, which, you know, are amazing. Right, you know how it's transformed from one to another. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like a completely different. It's really interesting taking it. I didn't think we'd be able to use as much as we did, but then obviously you get to a point where you can't. You know, you have to expand it, and it's just converting it for a whole different. Like so, simple things like in the book, because we wanted it to be a sort of children's storybook type reality. The background colours of the village. So Rufus is drawn in an exaggerated way, but in a more clearly realistic-y, human-y sort of way. Whereas the village is all bright and colourful, and in the book it's very flat because we wanted, you know, that kind of, I guess, like if you pick up a Peppa Pig book or if you pick up a lot of, you know, Spot or something, it's very flat, colourful stuff. And in a game that just didn't work, did it? It was just
No.
You had to fight me over it for ages, and then you turned out to be 100% right. And
yeah, it was
got
just
back
kind
in
of
my box.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, you know, it was too flat. If you're looking at something where you can't keep changing the angle, like you can't keep looking at something from a funky way to keep it keep the movement going in a graphic novel, right? You know, moving the camera within the setting of Sleepytime Village. You want to kind of, because you've designed your characters to, you know, yes, he walks in 8 directions like Guybrush in Curse of Monkey Island, but, you know, you can't keep changing the perspective or the angles of the rooms because he'll look funny, you know. So you have to have some kind of level, and so we added that little bit more shadows, which it doesn't really have in the graphic novel because it's meant to be that 2D flat, but we had to bring the shadow and light in to give it just a bit depth, which you agreed to in the end.
It is quite funny because James and I talk quite a lot about this stuff, and sometimes I imagine there are many things about me that are infuriating, but sometimes with the conceptual stuff I can get a bit stubborn, and that was absolutely one I got a bit stubborn on. And you know, James was totally vindicated because we went to WASD the other week, and you know, I hadn't seen the demo of the game in a couple of weeks, and you know, I'm there watching people play it, and James made all these enhancements and stuff. It's not just the lighting, but the way the camera was moving across, and it looked genuinely beautiful. And there was a point where I was just like, just shut my stupid mouth and let him get on with it, because you know, those games, bluffing it. But which is where it's good that Ken's been involved in the writing. So Ken, the editor, has been involved quite heavily in the writing of the game and the structuring of the game, and it's nice to have someone who was there from the very beginning, who understands exactly where we were, you know, what we were trying to achieve with that, but also understands gaming a lot better. Ken's got a brain on him, isn't he? He's a clever man.
He's a very switched on guy.
Clever and funny, and you know, he's brilliant, and his own writing is phenomenal. Like, he's written a book called Cognition, which I thoroughly recommend. Which, if I don't know if it's still available or where it'd be available, but Ken's book Cognition is one of my favourite indie comics because it's just so well written, and some really interesting ideas. But anyway, so yeah, it was nice. He did a lot of it. So in terms of where we are with the game right now, I guess that leads on to quite nicely. The whole thing's pretty much there structurally in terms of the writing. we're with the demo is completely as is, first level, or first scene, I guess, first couple of scenes, and then we know where the rest of it goes. And I think we've got 2 other areas that have got. So the toy, without giving too much away, the cemetery's done.
Broken Toys.
Treehouse is done. Yeah, Broken Toys. Yeah. Try not to give too much away though.
Oh yeah.
But if you want to be a broken toy,
Yeah,
that's level on the Kickstarter, right?
It's in the Kickstarter as a reward, so I think.
Yeah. We can give that one away.
Yeah.
Oh, you Fallout Cognition. Great. There we go.
Yeah.
So yes, there is a lot of work to do because obviously still bits of art need to be done and so on, which is partly why we're going for Kickstarter, because we can raise the funds to pay the artist, because we're not a-hole. Well, we might be a-holes, but we're not a-holes who don't want to pay our artist. We obviously, a lot of the movement and stuff in the animation is sorted because it'll be repotted through. I will have to sit down and just soundtrack the hell out of it, but that's going to be quite a straightforward process.
Yeah, look, we need to make our 12k or more, of course. We factored it all into what's needed, and yeah, you know, we're doing really well. There's 4 days left, so it's this time, isn't it? If we can crack 10k today, that would be nich, wouldn't it?
It would be really nice.
That would be nice.
If we could crack 12k today, it would be really nice.
Well,
It's funny doing a Kickstarter because so in terms of I have to say I'm really happy with where we've got to. The number of backers is amazing. It's bigger than any of the sort of comics things I've done, so I'm really happy with that. But it's such a bloody anxious process, isn't it? It's like, especially that midpoint when it just inches along. It's really slow.
The middle, it's just. It's like a graveyard of wandering around,
broken dreams.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you haven't played the demo, play the demo because it's awesome, and it's been tweaked from feedback. So from WASD, everyone who played it literally played it to the end. It's about half an hour, I think, and loved it. And we saw some things that needed fixing from that. Which I have now done in version 1.4b, which is the version currently. So play it, enjoy it. I think you'll definitely want to play more. And
where could I find it if I wanted to play it, James?
Well, I tell you, Steve, I'll tell you right now, it's on Steam. It's on GOG or GOG, however you want to call it. It's on Itch. It's also on Fireflower Games, which is a specific point-and-click streaming site. And I think that's everywhere. Yes, so many places to play.
I mean, you've got a nice shed there. It's on your hard drive, right? I'm sure people would come round.
Yeah, you can come round, sit with me here, and also play it if you'd like. But yeah, it's not going to be one of those Kickstarters where you wait years. I'm going to commit as much as I can, or as much as we can, should I say, to getting it out for Halloween next year, because I feel that it has such a solid foundation now that we can just build on it quickly. What does that say down there?
That says, did we learn any pacing lessons from the demo feedback? That's quite a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I learned so much feedback from all the different versions we've kind of put out, and it again, as a dev, you learn with each release. The first version. So first of all, we did loads of testing with some lovely people behind the scenes before releasing the demo, which was really wonderful, and I got great feedback from those guys. And then I released a version that we were happy with, but got some good feedback on maybe that the opening scene was a bit stress-inducing for the more cozy kind of comfort point-and-click audience. And you can see that original version on Yak Whack Slips plays it and streams it on YouTube. He enjoyed it very much. But yeah, the opening scene had a bit of a kind of timer thing to it, and was ultimately a bit unnecessary because you don't want to kind of put people off in the opening scene. So
it's a scene setter
instead,
as well, isn't it? It's like you don't want people to hang around in that scene.
exactly,
It's
it's a scene setter, which we realise. So now it's a very short kind of, as you say, you can hang around if you want to talk to some people, or you can just kind of get on with it, and because ultimately you're kind of just starting your journey, literally trying to get into a cab. So we really learned a lot about that, and then kind of because the demo was all about getting out of Mimi's house, and Mimi's in the image there, the kind of red, purple, weird, spiky-toothed rabbit thing. I think the rest of the pacing is fine now. It's really kind of coherent, makes sense, and we put a lot of options in there. So there's 3 different inventories you can have. You can have top bar, bottom bar, or full kind of screen inventory, whatever you prefer. Again, because I can't make decisions. And we also...
Can I just say, we did talk about where the frickin' inventory bar went for months, literally just trying the different options and going back to the first option. So, I'm glad you chose to
Everyone's
give
like,
the player the option.
That's such a great idea. That's such a kind game dev thing. And I was like, it's not that I'm indecisive. I'm just kind. And then the other thing, of course, is that the graphic novel has swearing, proper adult swearing, well-timed F words and other words of such ilk.
It's not gratuitous. It's just because
no, exactly.
You put a real person in. I know you weren't there. You put a real person in a situation like that. I mean, if you put me in that situation, and I would do a big swear.
Exactly.
I'd probably do slightly worse swearing than Rufus does in this story, to be quite frank.
So we sat down and we were like, what are we going to do? We're going to, will we alienate an audience if we go for the swearing? And not only that, if we're going to go for swearing, how in do we go on the swearing? And I remember in the Discord chat, or in a Discord chat, I asked the question, and there was a long kind of discussion on that, and the main kind of advice was go with your gut and go with it, kind of thing. So we did. Again, we went full blown swear. And
so to the point of doing a recording session where we were doing the dialogue for Rufus. I'm terrible with names, so
Justin.
What's his name? Justin, who's a lovely bloke, and we're just working him up into a lava to get the right feel for the dialogue that he's about to deliver. James and I, we are not young men, and the 2 of us are in absolute tears trying to keep the laughter quiet, because obviously everything gets picked up on the microphone whilst Justin just screams the C-bomb down into a microphone. And I'm still laughing at it now. I'm 44.
Yeah.
But it probably had to be there.
Honestly, they were brilliant, and that's the one regret I have about the opening scene, that you don't get to hear the 6 variations.
Was it 6?
It was 6 different random C-bombs of when the cab leaves, because you don't get there in time.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll, later along the line,
Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, like we would lie there awake at night. No, I would lie there awake at night. Steve wasn't there. My wife was there.
I was there, but I was behind the curtain
with Collywobble.
That's what we were doing.
Yeah, and I would lie there thinking, are we alienating people with the swearing? So ultimately, again, because I couldn't make a decision, there is now an option to have swearing on or swearing off that you will see in the demo. And at WASD, WASD, when we did it, only one person chose the swearing off. So, I'm glad it's there as an option, but, if that was like a slice of a pie, there's your kind of, that's your cut.
Piece of pie.
Yeah.
And he was quite a young fellow as well. I was quite surprised. I thought he was going to go all in, but no. But yeah, so options are good.
A splash. Keep going. I can hear you.
I keep going. I'm going to talk about my own. This is you amateur. So anyway, sat there watching people play was quite nice as well, because you can see the feedback in real time. It was my first, so I've done lots of comic conventions, but I've never done a gaming
Yes.
event before. So I went in with a bit of angst, feeling like a bit of a pretender of my, oh yeah, I used to play my Mega Drive in the teenage years, once had a PlayStation. But everyone was really nice and really lovely and really friendly. So that was quite cool as well.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was really, I mean, I did 3 days. You did
One.
one.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't be so enthusiastic if I'd done the full
But,
three.
yes. No, it was really
You weren't there, man. You were literally.
yeah, you just weren't there. No, it was it was awesome fun. It was really nice, and yeah, everyone who played it loved it. So it was a real feeling of we're doing the right thing,
Yeah. And actually, because I worried about you, especially, and we've been asked about this before about pitching the puzzles at the right level to make them.
Yes.
Whether you make them super complicated or whatever, and you talked a lot about dumb logic around use the chicken to open the door, or whatever. But actually, people picked up the clues and got there, and most players that certainly I mean there was it was nice. It was a constant stream of playing it, people playing it through the day, and most of them, I'd say, good 95, 96% got through the whole thing. There was only one person I could remember seeing just having to give in after about 20 minutes of just not doing so well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that one. That one person. I think it was a real, again, those edits we made for the latest version of the demo was just like people just not clicking on a specific hotspot to pick up an object. It took them a bit of age. It wasn't kind of an error or a game-breaking bug. It just wasn't clear enough, so we just tweaked those things, which is cool. And on screen here, you can see, by the way, I just thought I'd flip back to, in development and how and where we are and what we need from a Kickstarter perspective. Here is the Broken Toy Cemetery sketch that Yulia did, and here it is in its full wonder, as you can see there. Isn't it beautiful?
It's nice, isn't it?
In all its splendor, and with your money and your support, we will be able to turn our sketches into real live scenes. I don't know why I went with that weird accent that started a bit American, then went a bit like yeehaw. But hey,
I'm not dissing it. It was just curious as to what getting into character. What was your motivation?
I don't know. The worst thing was my wife just kind of sat down here and started looking at me even more strange than she usually does as I started to complete the sentence.
Christ knows what she thinks of me. Having to hear my nonsense, multiple nights on the trot now.
I know, poor sausage.
Even my wife doesn't put up with that. But yeah, so we'll I guess seeing the time, we'll have to go over see if there's any questions in a minute. But just before we do, the one thing I would highlight is that obviously children's storybook world, we wanted characters that were terrifying to adults but would appeal to kids, and the best way to do that was to actually enlist a child. And my daughter, who is now 10, has been a very keen artist since she was very, very small. So a lot of the drawings are based on characters she would created when she was between the ages of about 3 and 5. And now, I'm not going to be a smug parent, but I am. She's amazing and does this very manga chibi sort of styled art. But back then she was working her way around stuff and just really got into the idea of creating characters. And one of the things that's been actually amazing about the project is, one, bringing her into it and letting her see these things come to life. Seeing her characters, for her it's been a real thrill. Seeing the characters interpreted by Yulia, then seeing them in a comic, and then Yulia has been, and Ken have both been super supportive of Marnie's own artistic efforts. And Ken, when we did Thought Bubble one year, which is a big Comic Con, Ken made loads of stickers of the characters for Marnie, which went down an absolute tree. So I came home from the comic. Julia had bought us some Sylvanian families, and Ken had made us some stickers. So Marnie thought, is this what they're like all the time? You go to this thing, come back with awesome gifts. And then, obviously, so big thrill for her to see it come to life in a comic, obviously without the swears. And then finally, to get to the point of seeing these characters that she's created and lived with for a couple of years now as living, moving, animated creatures on a screen has been phenomenal. So it's been really nice for her. She'll be playing the no swear.
You're late for me.
Sorry, just gonna play the trailer on a loop.
Oh well.
There we are.
So so it's actually quite nice. As we were talking about this the other day, where one of the cool things with collaboration and collaborative projects anyway is just the surprise. If like I'll take you back to the music because that's probably the easiest place. If I write a piece of music on my own, it's very unlikely that I'll surprise myself because the thought process is going, and I'll get into it, and if I want to surprise myself, I have to switch to a different instrument. I'm not so sure. Whereas if I'm writing music with a friend at the moment, and she comes up with a lot of bits that completely surprise me. Sometimes it's the vocal stuff, sometimes she'll come up with instrumental stuff, and it's new and shiny to me. And with this, you've got 5 people and five adults and a child involved, and it's quite nice getting those surprises. And sometimes I go a bit tunnel vision, like we were talking earlier about the flat colours, but it is really nice having that collaborative environment, but also being able to bring Marnie into that and let her sort of experience that and see her bits come to life. Anyway,
and you know what? Talking of that, in the game, you can in the demo even in one of the rooms there's a little I don't know if it's an Easter egg. It's just a little kind of puzzle that is not necessary to complete or not. Is that an Easter egg? But it reveals the original drawing. It reveals Marnie's drawings of the villages, so you can actually see what they originally look like compared to how they are rendered by Julia in the game and the novel. So a little bit of fun fact.
Right. Shall we see if anyone is still listening? If anyone has any questions.
Any questions?
Does anyone have any questions? I'm hoping that it's just the delay rather than
Yeah, I'm going to hope that.
The tumbleweed.
How long should we say the delay is? Half an hour?
We're not letting anyone go until we get a question.
Yeah. Is that possible?
Even if that question is, can you two just shut that and go away? We're not. That doesn't count.
I'd also like to know from the audience, as this is our first stream, and it's fine, any number, but out of 10, what would you give us for our? Don't do that. No. My wife is just, from the sideline. I imagine, with like in TV studio, she's like, no, don't ask that, don't.
No, Jesus, no.
Why not? I don't mind honesty. Anyway, read the question, please, Steve.
Adie's playing Warframe, so she's sorry, but she can't type. She typed that message, so I'm a bit kind of.
You're like,
What?
Does it not take voice recognition?
Tnal, which is probably T-Nal or something like that, is stopping by for a bit to wish us the best for the campaign. Really hoping the best for the campaign for you, which is really nice.
That is very nice. Thank you very much.
I misread that the first time. I was thinking they were leaving. It's just like, I'm going there, but good luck. But thank you.
Thank you very much. That is very kind.
We are, fingers crossed. But cool. If we've blabbered on enough, we do not need to. Oh my God! Nah, you can answer that one, Jay.
I don't.
Millions.
But it's nice to see you. You know who you are, Mr. Y. I don't know if I can say your name or not. How many events runs? I don't know yet. I haven't got that far into planning. But I will say on that anecdote, which you probably teed me up for, is Sorry. Oh yes, how many inventory items in the full game is the question. I've no idea, but in the original demo, it's a good point. In the original demo, there were too many items, and I had to turn them off for the demo because people kept picking up all the items that you would use thus later in the game. But for someone playing the demo, there's a thing known as inventory bloat, which no one likes. So for the demo, I have turned off some of those, but I don't know in the full game. All I know is they'll be necessary and useful. How about that?
No inventory bloat. Shady AD, have any famous game devs picked it up?
So,
Or non-famous?
Oh, and by the way, I will say, Inglewood there, please play Foolish Mortals, which is a wonderful, well, it's not out yet, but the demo play after you've played Sleepytime Village, play Foolish Mortals. It's on Steam and everything else, and it does look amazing. I didn't really want to mention it because it looks nicer than our game. And he's a lovely person, and so is his wife. Anyway, back to Sleepytime Village. No more Foolish Mortals.
Yes. Have any famous game devs picked it up? Or non-famous? There's a clarification after.
Lots of non-famous, I would say. So Mischief Woolly Mountain, obviously Dave Gilbert, and what's the games master? Not Dave Gilbert, Ron Gilbert. Dave Gilbert is Wadget Eye Games, who he's a pal of mine too. But Ron Gilbert, Monkey Island fame, he did back Woolly Mountain on Kickstarter, which was a very magical moment. And what's the name of the guy who did Games Master? Not Patrick Moore.
Dominic Diamond.
Yes, he also backed Woolly Mountain.
Did he?
He did, yeah. Sleepytime Village, however, I mean, my brother backed it. The famous David Lightfoot from the band The Fades. The dev from Foolish Mortals, he backed it as well. And also the dev, Tom from Tom Hardwidge from Lucy Dreaming and Hair of the Dog, he backed it as well. And other people, not as famous as Ron Gilbert, but I would say... anyway, there's 4 days left, so they could all do it then.
They're all queuing up to do it right
now.
now.
They're just logging
on.
They're waiting for the last day.
Yes, Foolish Mortals does look great.
I know.
No, it does look great.
No, I'm joking. It looks great.
Does look amazing. And what if you make a stretch goal to add 100 pointless collectibles to the game? I'm in. Dumb.
Okay, we can do that. 100. Well, I did like in Return to Monkey Island. I did like no. I liked in Thimbleweed Park that you could pick up specks of dust. There were a specific number of specks of dust because there's another thing more in 2D point and click. Pixel art. 2D point and click games, which is called pixel hunting. So, in other words, it's not always clear what you're supposed to click on or pick up. So people literally are moving the cursor around, trying to find everything. So, Ron Gilbert, being the cheeky monkey that he is, made it that you have to find like 50 specks of dust to completely complete the game, to fully complete the game. Yeah.
I've seen campaigns get a huge boost right in the last day, so we have some. Yeah, we do. I mean, particularly from the comics ones, you basically how it seems to start is big opening week, this kind of dead phase in the middle, which is will destroy yourself, and then last couple of days suddenly it rallies right up and goes mental, which is
So I'm
fingers crossed.
What does make me laugh though, which I think back to day one of launching this campaign, which was at WASD. I launched it on the Thursday at 10 a.m. as the doors of WASD opened, and I thought this is a genius idea because here I am, stood, able to convert all the punters with my QR code sign to back the game. In retrospect, they generally, live punters don't do it as much as kind of those at home reading through, playing the demo. So I kind of felt like I literally got 2 theoretical guns out and shot my feet straight away
Well,
as I launched it. Because
I got dragged into it. I was in a meeting for like a couple of hours as well, so I couldn't do anything. I was just like, oh, we've launched it already. But yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. But
No,
yeah,
but
the last couple of days do tend to go a bit. I mean, like I said, I'm happy that we've got to where we are. With a whole bunch of work to do, and basically a whole lot of shouting to do over the next couple of days. I'm going to bore the crap out of my family and friends.
yeah.
I've seen Kickstarters in a worse, at a lower percentage than we are.
I'm confident.
Across the line.
All I want to see, I just, like, if we can be at, over that 10k mark with, by tomorrow, which is only £59 to get there, then that's a comforting, like, landing. It feels like we're on the landing to success.
Yeah. I always get it. I don't know why we do it to ourselves.
I know. I do miss it when it's gone.
Make things.
I do miss it when it's gone. The Kickstarter, it's like this intense kind of like every time your phone buzzes and you see that someone's pledged, it's like this euphoric buzz.
Yeah. I try not to I try not to check it too often, but certainly in the morning, it's nice when you get in there.
Oh yeah.
More, yeah.
I don't check it too often. Just I'd say 4 times a minute. But can you read those comments out because it's quite small for me on here? Thank you.
Yeah, no. So Digital Follies is following Foolish Mortals 2. Looks great.
Good.
We've read that one. Digital Follies again. Dev support for other PNCs is 1/3 of funding IMO.
Yeah, I agree.
It's true. No, the specks of dust were quite funny. Lol. It's a bloody nightmare in 4K. Again, Digital Follies. Shady 80 is looking forward to us adding an in-game store, real money, battle pass, and subscription.
Oh yeah, that's coming. I'll drop that right before release.
Oh yeah. But even if you kickstart that, you're gonna have to subscribe. Like and subscribe, and then Turnal again. If it's any consolation, I got convinced by the WAS presentation. Didn't play the demo there because I didn't have time, but I had a nice chat about it.
Oh, that's lovely.
Was that? I'm curious as to whether that was with James or with both of us, or
you.
Oh God, can you imagine if it's me? That'd be.
I'm sorry if it was Steve. No,
if it was me, I'm really sorry.
It's talking about Doctor Who.
New series for this. Bloody good again.
I heard the latest episode was really amazing, very creepy and weird. Is that right?
It is amazing. It's probably one of my old. I need to. I've done 2 years, but I definitely think it's an all-time. It was really funny because literally the last 3 weeks or whatever it's been on, I'll watch the midnight showing. I will log on and see what everyone else thought of it. And I'm going into the internet like, yeah, Doctor Who is back and it's really good again. And just feel like they've been quite divisive. Because obviously the musical interludes have upset a couple of people. And then there's a bunch of people who got upset about 73 yards not necessarily making sense. And it's a show about a man who travels through time in a magic box that's bigger on the inside than the outside. I'm all right if a couple of things are left unexplained.
I knew I shouldn't have mentioned Doctor Who. I've got to stop him.
I know, mate. I'm going off one now.
There's only 5 minutes left.
We've got comments about it as well, so I'm ready to dive in.
What have I done?
Yes, you do need to get back into Doctor Who. The new series has started and it's building up. The first 2 episodes are quite divisive, and then suddenly it drops a Moffat episode, which is an absolute classic, and then Rusty's just followed it up this week with one of my all-time favourite Doctor Who stories. I think I might be being a bit enthusiastic.
And on that, just bringing it back slightly, the narrator in Woolly Mountain was Colin Spall, who was in 3 episodes of Doctor Who. I don't know. Two. Oh, see, he knows much more. Steve is a Doctor Who.
He was in.
Go on. What was his name? I don't even know. He lived next door to me.
He was in the Rise of Cybermen, Age of Steel. He was Lumix's henchman.
I can't believe you know that.
I don't know that.
You know what? He for being in 2 episodes, he regularly is on around the world, flown out to different conventions, just for being in 2 episodes.
It's funny, I've got
I've
got a
I've seen
relative, a distant relative, who was once in one episode.
How distant?
She was in Fear in Tennant's first series, which is it was super cool.
That is super cool considering your obsession with it. No,
it is an obsession.
Look, we've got
no point in getting over that. But yeah, anyway, listen. Yeah. We need to stop. I need to. So, like special. I'm excited. I'm going to get started again.
Please, guys in the chat, don't get him.
I've got my Doctor Who fireworks on. Right. Any last questions before we close this session? Yeah. Should we do another song and dance number?
But yes, look, I'm sure you wonderful folks have backed it. So thank you. Tell your friends, repost, reshare some stuff. Help us get there. I'm sure we will. But can't wait to get started. Really, it feels like this whole Kickstarter has been not doing anything on the game and just trying to say, please back the game in 200 different ways, so as not to bore anyone.
Yeah, it's quite. Can you describe what you want the player to experience after finishing your game?
Oh yes, I can. I've been talking about this recently. So, I would say about 6 months ago, a year ago, I had visions that this game would be like super huge and you could like 10 different endings and all these different kind of decisions that would affect different things and so on and so on. And then I played The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow, which is an amazing, amazing point-and-click game that came out in 2022, I think. And it's like The Wicker Man. It's like Midsummer or something. You know, I said another film the other day that I've forgotten. It's very creepy and very English horror, like Wicker Man style, and I loved it. And it was such a kind of... It wasn't that long. It didn't send you off into loads of different places. It just was a concise, beautiful, brilliant story that stays with you. And after playing that, I was like, you know what? We don't need to make this a huge, sprawling thing that takes years to develop. I just want this game to be like a movie. You know, you're in it, you invest in it, you remember it, you love it, you laugh, you know, you cry, you're shocked. And at the end, you kind of sit back and, you know, take it all in. And then you want the physical copy on your shelf because it's, you know, like a great book or like a great film. You want it there as a momentum to the journey you had playing with it. You know, you'll revisit it over time. And again, you might find some extra bits and pieces in it and you'll love it as a game. And it will be a, like, just... Satisfying's a bit soft, so just a real memorable experience that doesn't take you 10 years to complete and doesn't take us 20 to make. And that's what I want to get across with this. And I think it will be a beautiful companion piece to the graphic novel. You know, the graphic novel is a linear story that is great, you know, novella as you call it, Steve. Mm-hmm. And the game will kind of take that into whole other, you know, it will give extra facets to it, so there'll be just great companion pieces together, and that's my journey. That's what I think. There you go. That's my Oscar speech.
My hope for the for me, it's like I let a friend who's also a writer and also has a job and also has kids, who's balancing all those things, read it a version of it as it was maybe about 6 months ago. The graphic novel, and they related to it, and the comment, the reply was something like, you didn't have to go straight for my face, mate. And that's what I kind of like. I like that sort of thing. With, you know, that's what I kind of want. I want that because it is essentially it's a Christmas Carol. It's a character starts as a twit and ends up as less of a twit. And you know, I'm kind of hoping that kind of I just hope that some people players come out of the experience having enjoyed the thing and being quite feel good. Anyway,
there's another question.
Have a whole bunch of others. Yeah.
What are your favourite parts of development? Not the end bit. Just talking to my friend, Mr. Y, who makes Foolish Mortals, and he is in the end bit, and I can't remember what the exact quote was, but it was along the lines of like, you know, the last 10% takes the longest or something. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, that last crunch bit is the worst bit. And I think the kind of brainstorming, sketchy, like what ifs are probably the most fun, I would say. Second to the, right, we've decided, you know, like the bit after the demo, the bit after this Kickstarter backs, that's going to be fun because I can dive straight in with a smile on my face of success, and actually just start making the game.
Not that I do much of the dev, but I think with any creative thing, I love a bit when you solve a massive puzzle. You know, when you just sort of, there's something that's you got a roadblock, you can't get past it, and suddenly it all clicks and you just get past that. But well, we've got do you do TDD? What does that even mean?
I don't know what that means. Otherwise, I would.
Oh, agile or waterfall.
Agile, baby, agile.
Trying to get in Paradise Killer, but sheer weight of content made me overwhelmed. So short and sweet experiences stick with me a lot more. Yeah, no, totally. What's your favourite Unity UI system?
Sorry, I will stop. System, I don't. You know what? I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that and think about it for the time that's left. There are many different assets and stuff that we use, but I wonder what TDD is. Is it the Double Dragon, the great 80s arcade? Don't know. But yes, so you know, a short and sweet experience that's memorable rather than. I mean, has anyone played Disco Elysium? You know, like that's an investment, and is amazing. But you know, I don't have time for that kind of investment. I want, you know, like a movie kind of thing. Look, we're 3 minutes over. A lot.
I mean, looking at the time, I heard a noise. I was like, what's going on there?
I think it was
but yeah, we are 3 minutes over time, so we need to wrap up. Test-driven development.
Okay, so I'm still pretty new to this gaming lark. That's something. So yes, okay. So I mean, there will be a lot more of that going forward. I think from what I learned from launching the demo, where I should have done more. I think, but he's even lulled. Our own Stephen Horry is lulled.
Lulled, that's for you, AD.
Yes. Look, this was fun, and I think we're going to start doing these more. It was my New Year's resolution, my dev New Year's resolution to like Twitch once a week, live stream. So now we've done this successfully. Now we've done this.
Now we've done this. Yeah.
I think we'll be doing more of these as the development goes, and you know, in some ways, this could be our test-driven development with people who are interested in.
I definitely think, certainly as a way of keeping backers informed as to what's going on, it's quite a nice way, especially to throw it open to say, this is how it's going.
Exactly.
We'll show you some stuff, etc.
Exactly. So,
but, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. And you know, we will do a live stream probably next Thursday to sit here and open a bottle of champagne.
Fucking hope so.
And the only reason I say,
yeah.
And the only reason I say Thursday is I'm actually off to South Africa to play a music festival tomorrow, which again, great timing, James. Great timing for the last 3 days of Kickstarter. But I will be obviously, you know, promoting them out there. Yeah. So anyway, thank you everyone. Any more questions you have, please join the Discord and ask questions. The link's all on lightfootbrosgames.com, or you know, ask loads of questions at me on or Steve on Twitter, X or whatever social media platform. No, I know. Blue Sky.
But you can also message us on Kickstarter if you want.
Whatever. Or on there.
It's all good.
All up the pages and
thank you. And we're going to say goodnight.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
But come on, give me another firework. Come on. Yeah. It's not doing it now, is it?